What is up, everybody? Josh the Mosh in the pit once again. And as usual, I don't really mess around too much. We jump right into it, bringing in numero dos. What is happening, my brother?
What's going on, man? It's been a wild-ass week already. And I'm not even talking about wrestling. Wrestling was wild too. It's a wild world. Welcome to 2020, part 11.
Yeah, chapter 11. 2020. Like, what's
going on? This is the worst storyline ever. Who booked this shit?
Fucking Russo. Some Russo shit. I don't hate Russo. That's funny though. All right, man. Well, then let's just get everybody's mood shifted and get back to happy stuff. And let's get the show going. And as we always do, in from the shadows, we bring in the.
I mean, you said happy stuff, so I got to get a little smiling going, even though it's not a happy situation for her. But still want to shout out Kylie Ray, whatever it is that you're going through, girl. Thoughts and prayers go out to you, girl. Hopefully you pull through with what you're pulling through, and hopefully one day we see you back in wrestling. But anyway, how's it going, guys?
Going good. I mean, you say it might not be a happy thing for her, but it might be the best thing for her and end up being the happiest. I mean,
hey, it's all about finding. It's all about finding your smile in life, and if it ain't happening in wrestling, you gotta escape it and just get some breather and find it out. But anyway,
live their life.
One thing I am happy about is my Woman of the Week for November 5th, and let me bring it up right here. I'm giving Being Ninja's Woman of the Week to Miss Dakota Kai, formerly known as Evie of Shimmer and New Zealand fame from PWWA. So she's been a staple veteran through the longest times. And the reason I'm giving her Woman of the Week is that clinic that she had with one of my personal favorites, Ember Moon, on NXT last night. And while Ember's still getting her rust going, Dakota Kai definitely showed her that she has been a ball player in NXT for the longest time. I mean, prior to her signing, she's done it all. She's competed in her home of New Zealand, went to Australia to compete for PWWA, and transitioned to Shimmer, where she actually had some success in there, winning the Shimmer tag team titles with Heidi Lovelace right here, aka Ruby Riott right here, forming the team of Slap Happy. And when she got signed in WWE later on, she competed in the inaugural Mae Young Classic, made it all the way, defeating the likes of Kavita David, Rhea Ripley when Rhea was getting her foot going, and who did she fell to? Oh, Kairi Sane. That was a good match. And when she got signed to NXT, she basically became the Bayley for the period of time, one that was humbled and getting bullied by Shayna Baszler for the period of time while maintaining her good techniques in the ring and her kicks. But what really broke the Kai to her current core was the epic heel turn that she had in NXT TakeOver War Games over a year ago, where she cracked Tegan Nox in the face and just drilled her knee into the shark cage, and that solidified one of NXT's best heel turns to date. And since then, she has been a real player in the women's division, having multiple title matches with Io Shirai, putting on some great matches, stealing some wins for the likes of Ember Moon, as I just mentioned, and Rhea Ripley, former NXT Women's Champions, and now that she has a diesel with Raquel Gonzalez, Texas's own, by the way, who, side shout out to her with that clinic she had with Rhea Ripley. This dynamic duo right here is definitely a good force to be reckoned with, and I hope WWE gets their shit together and do a full-blown storyline circle for Dakota and take the tag titles off the woman that bullied her and finally get her just to service in Shayna Baszler. So I would like to see Dakota and Raquel take those tag titles off her as a just service. And because of her incredible match with Ember Moon and her success of just being the captain of Team Kick and keeping the Kiwis alive, Dakota Kai's my woman of the week for this week.
Very cool.
Good choice.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that I was expecting Ember Moon to go over in that match. There were some cool spots in that match, though.
Yeah, but from what I looked at, it's kind of crowded at the top of the women's division right now because, I'm a little bummed Ember lost, but at the same time, I'm kind of happy Dakota won because she was kind of teeter and tottering right there. And with everybody that's on top right now, Ember will get her time up there because she's still rehabilitating herself, getting her rust going. So might as well work with the ones that are already been in the totem pole right now. And then Ember will eventually get up there. So
I was pleased by the surprise. I didn't mean it was a bad surprise. I just said
right.
That doesn't happen very often in this.
Not at all.
Especially in WWE product, there's not a lot of surprises on any of the levels. But man, appreciate you as always, man. We will let you disappear back into the shadows. Man.
Brand new face in Women of the Week. Love to see it.
And went way back.
Way back. I like it. I like that depth. That's one of Brandon's better segments in a while.
I had forgot that she tagged with Ruby Riott. Totally had forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah.
Well,
cool, man. So let's just jump into some of your stuff since you're here.
All right. I've prepared for this one. This is a big day for me. I gave myself the most time that I've ever had. So here we go. For those of you guys that have been following my deathmatch story arc that we've been doing for the last couple weeks and even talked about it for a couple months, the Separate Ways tour with Matt Tremont came to an end last weekend, and the last stop on the Separate tour was Ricky Shane Page. I know when I tell you guys storytelling, this is one of the best matches I ever saw. It's one of the best feuds I ever saw in general. Again, I just want to reiterate that I think Matt Tremont's accomplishments really supersede the type of wrestling he does. And I know that not everybody's a deathmatch wrestling fan, but everybody should be able to understand what he's accomplished. And I don't know that they could have wrote a better ending to his story with what is here on Earth. I mean, maybe Danny Havoc could have done it better, but he's not with us anymore. And that's a lot about what this match entailed in the emotion department. So let's hop straight into it. So this Friday was the first part of Matt Tremont's first tournament to crown the first ever H2O Danny Havoc Hardcore Champion. It was a deathmatch tournament, a series of matches leading down to one final match on night 2. That's not really a big highlight of what I want to talk about tonight, but I did want to point out that Bam Sullivan actually won that tournament. He went over Alex Colon at the end. It was a really good match, a really good outing for Bam Sullivan, and it was nice to see H2O book that tournament the way that they did. It was a lot of fun to watch. It was full of surprises with Bam Sullivan going over being one of the biggest ones over Cologne. So that was great. But moving into the big factor was night 1 of the last extravaganza was the final chapter of Matt Tremont's career. The story leading up to this was Matt Tremont had chosen a series of people to have his last few matches with, and Ricky Shane Page was going to be the last stop at H2O. They had been cutting vicious promos on each other for the last while. We covered the run-in that he had with John Wayne Murdoch at IWA when we were there. It's just been fun to watch, man. There was a lot of talk about Danny Havoc. And they used Danny's real life name. There was a lot of talk about Grant because the emotion just runs that deep. These are two guys that were really close to him, and he's not with us anymore. So they wanted to kind of pay homage to that and do justice by him with that match. This match was 2 months in the making, and it did not disappoint. It was a barbed wire ropes and light tubes match. It was literally barbed wire ropes and light tubes strung on the barbed wire ropes. It was a great setup. The camera guys got a great shot. There was an amazing shot where Tremont was in there on his knees, arms spread wide, people throwing streamers over him, and behind him you could see Ricky Shane Page just staring a soul or staring right through Matt Tremont's soul. It was a great look. The match started as we thought it would. Ricky Shane Page went up really quick and was just really taking it to Tremont. Tremont was bouncing back and forth. There were some really good parts of this match, and I wanted to really highlight at one point, Matt Tremont had taken a ton of damage from Ricky Shane Page and was on the mat, and Ricky was still trying to give it to him. Matt Tremont's wife, who was at ringside, actually hopped into the ring to get in front of Matt Tremont, which is huge because it's a woman in the deathmatch world, and that's a fucking badass thing, man. Anytime that happens is really cool. There was tons of glass all over the ring, but she crawled in there, got in front of him, and it wasn't like us standing over her like, please don't hit my husband. She came in there to fucking fight. I mean, she came in there strong. She was backing them up. 44-0 came in the ring, and they were going to give her the business, but the entire H2O locker room emptied out and ran them off. And so the match from there gets to continue. I really wanted to talk about a point in the match where Ricky Shane Page is just destroying Matt Tremont, light tube after light tube after light tube after light tube. And while this is going on the whole time, Ricky Shane Page is just yelling at Matt, like, stay down, don't get up, don't make me do this. What was really cool about this moment was it lasted for about 45 seconds, and you saw an entire emotional spectrum for a heel who also was friends in real life with these people, and the storytelling became so real. Like, Ricky at one point was very upset with Matt, like, stay down, don't make me do this, stay the fuck down. And toward the end, he was like, please don't get up. Like, at one point, he knelt down and was staring at Matt, and he was like, stop, don't get up. I miss Grant too. I'm just stay down, no more. And it was almost like there was a tear in his eye. Like, I was emotional watching it. I was ready to see what was happening next. They went up top. There was a platform they had built above the ring. They went up top. It looked like Ricky was going to try to do a Death Valley driver to Tremont from that platform, but I don't know if that was a botch or if that was just working us. The end result was Ricky Shane Page tossed Matt Tremont off the platform into the ring. What was waiting for him below was a big setup of glass and tubes to break the fall, I guess, if that's better than the ring. But Tremont down. He made Ricky Shane Page put him down, and it took a couple more light tubes and a Death Valley driver, and Ricky Shane Page was finally able to close it out. What a great career. What a great match. Matt Tremont had a lot of positive things to say about the environment, the fans, and everything. And, I mean, if you ever want to dabble into deathmatch, this would be one of them, man. This was a good story. They told a lot. They got some really good shots of, the fans and them. One quick shout-out was H2O's announce table was actually in a crow's nest above the fans. And there was a ladder for the spot with the from the platform. Somebody moved it early. That's also the same ladder that the announcers get to the announce table with. Well, there was a change-up of announcers because Matt Tremont asked someone else to call his last match, and he couldn't get up there. So this motherfucker climbed up from the other side of the building and walked a bar across the side of the building. And it was just cool. It was a wrestling fan saying, I'm not missing this fucking moment. And it was great. All in all, great series, great match. Matt Tremont, Ricky Shane Page, what a war. What a level of respect. I mean, it was a great one. And that's going to conclude the Separate Ways tour. Matt Tremont's wife says he owes her one more fight with Effie, but we'll see what happens with that. But that's Deathmatch this week in a nutshell. Upcoming weekend, we got Pit Fighter tomorrow night. Nothing crazy, but Saturday is the Nick Gage Invitational, so I can't wait to tell you guys all about that next week.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that, but you beat me to it because you mentioned it earlier.
We're excited. We don't know how we're gonna pull it off yet. We haven't figured out our plans, but the Baracho crew is always gonna get together, drink, and watch some Deathmatch.
Sounds like a blast, except for the whole watching the deathmatch part for me. Hanging out with the Baracho crew.
Oh,
2 thumbs up.
We're fun.
Yeah, if I was there, I'd face away from the screen.
So fun, it hurts.
Most of y'all get hurt, yeah. I was able to survive pain-free.
That's true.
My first visit.
That's true.
We'll see if it happens the next time. Awesome, man. Well, speaking of the Baracho crew, I think it's only fitting. Bring in El Numero Uno of the Baracho crew.
What's up, people? How y'all doing today?
Doing good, man.
Great.
What's happening in the world of lucha?
So let's get things started. Let me pull up the picture that I got.
Oops, sorry. Did I go too fast?
Okay.
Or in my life?
Okay, there you go.
Good.
All right. So IWRG had their yearly Halloween show where there was an entrance into a cage, and the last one to leave the cage was gonna lose, or actually the last one to stay in there was gonna lose their mask. The entrance were Capo del Norte, Capo del Sur, Hijo del Alebrije, Hijo de Dr. Wagner, Emperador Azteca, Hijo del Espectro, Galeno, the Tiger, Toxin, and Aragon. There were talks about how, excuse me, Aragon was the one who possibly could lose his mask, but that wasn't the case. Actually, he shut everybody's mouth by being the first one to get out. And the order in which they came out of the cage was Aragon was the first one, Galeno del Mar was the second one, Hijo del Espectro the third, Capo del Sur was the fourth. And remember this name because this is going to be important later on during my segment. Emperador Azteca, Dr. Wagner Jr., Toxin, Tiger, Hijo del Alebrije, and Capo del Norte. So the match was going well, everything. The last two was Hijo del Alebrije and Capo del Norte. So there's the last ones in the cage. They're battling, and Capo del Sur comes back to help his brother out to help him win the match. But then Aragon sees that, and he comes out to help Hijo del Alebrije. Even things out, he comes out with a chair, starts hitting them. So there was a point where Capo del Norte was like, fuck this shit, and he decided to take off, leaving his brother Capo del Sur in the cage, even though Capo del Sur came and helped him. So Aragon left again, Capo del Norte left, and then it was Hijo del Alebrije and Capo del Sur, just, battling out to save their mask. And but just because of a mistake, Capo del Sur got distracted. Hijo del Alebrije took advantage of that situation, and he escaped the cage, which means that Capo del Sur lost his mask, and his real name is Jose Luis Hernandez from Tijuana, with 15 years as a professional. That's him right there after unmasking. So that just tells you that if you mind your own business, you might have saved your mask. So don't get into other people's business because you end up getting fucked.
I'm writing notes about this. We have some math in PPW that I want to take notes on this. Carry on.
So
remember this.
in another thing in the lucha world, this is sad news. Histeria Jr. passed away sometime this week. It hasn't been specified what happened, but he used to wrestle a lot in the Houston area, and at one point there was a big like news or regarding that guy, Histeria Jr., because he was a dental assistant, but what he was doing is practicing like if he was a dentist without having a dentist license over there in Houston. But he wasn't doing it for the money. He was doing it to help people because the dentist is really expensive.
Yeah.
But what he was doing was helping people with low income to get dental work for like really cheap or nothing at all. And that was a big case in Houston. He got caught doing it, and he went to jail for a few, for a period of time, and then he got out and he went back to wrestling. And yeah, sadly, he passed away this week. So rest in peace, Histeria Jr.
Tough. Dang.
Yeah, and that's as much as I got today for Lucha. We'll see what pops up this weekend. There hasn't been much action. I know another thing on the IWRG show was that Dr. Wagner and the leader of Los Capos had they had a match, and it ended up being all bloody and crazy, hard hitting match, and they are challenging each other on a hair versus hair match. There hasn't been a response to see if it's official yet, but that's the word that might happen in the future.
Yeah, those kind of stipulations always make things more exciting. I mean, I remember back when it was like the Freebirds and it was, I think, Buddy Roberts and Iceman King Parsons had a hair versus hair match in World Class Wrestling. Y'all weren't born yet, probably, but y'all probably heard about it. Yeah, like things like that just stay with you forever, So like,
yeah,
mask versus mask, hair versus hair. Like, to me, that's just the coolest shit.
Those matches, really tell a story, and they can get pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
So those matches are pretty cool.
Oh yeah, awesome, man. Appreciate you as always, numero uno.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully, we'll have some more lucha information next week.
Hopefully, I'll see y'all next week.
All right, brother. Be safe, man.
Bye.
Super awesome. I'm stoked for freaking hair versus hair matches and mask versus mask matches, and man, y'all gonna have to come to PPW, man. There's gonna be some stuff happening.
Oh, absolutely, you got to get to PPW.
But before we do that, we'll go to AEW, and by doing that, we bring in our AEW expert.
Hi guys.
How are you, Mel?
Going back to PPW, look whose shirt I got on.
Yeah.
Hey.
It all comes around.
Miss Maddie Renkowski's literally shirt. She's got a big cartel. You guys go pick up your own shirt. Leave mine alone.
I need to get me one of those. You would think I would have one, but
what?
We'll have to talk about that.
Guys, before we get into AEW, I just wanted to say there's big things happening this weekend in Texas. So if you're in Texas, around Texas, tomorrow's Mission Pro in Buda, Texas. Saturday in San Antonio is SWE Fury. Both chances to watch Ms. Maddie Renkowski. And also on Sunday in Uvalde is AWP, Atlas Wrestling Promotion. So it's one of the newest ones here. And we'll soon be streaming on Title Match Wrestling. So many good things happening in Texas. I love it. And we're all being safe, just so everybody knows, COVID tests, masks, and social distancing.
That's Title Match Network, right?
I'm sorry, yes, Title Match Network.
Making sure people don't start Googling the wrong stuff and be like, what?
Right. Sorry, yeah, Title Match Network. There's too many things in here.
Yeah, for sure. And I do respect that too. I've noticed you've been tested twice this week alone, right? Just for the work that you're having to do.
I've been tested twice each month so far, and then I'll get tested again in December.
But this week, like yesterday or within this week,
I was tested. I tested before Halloween and I tested after Halloween. I didn't do anything before Halloween except walking around with my kids, but just to be safe, they wanted us to be, just to be safe for everybody. They wanted us to get tested again just to make sure.
Awesome.
Not a partier, guys. I got 3 kids. There's nothing for me to do.
Nothing.
There's just big bags of candy for them to devour.
Nice. That's what I do. I don't need Halloween for that.
Yeah.
I need Halloween for that. Do that every day.
But huge things coming up this week, guys. Besides all the local stuff, we got Full Gear for AEW, leading up to Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, who each week get more and more personal in their promos. This week was no different. Jon Moxley bringing up Eddie Kingston's mom, even calling her by name. Dude, that hit in the feels. That was like, damn. You not only bring up the, you not only bring up the mom, but then you call her by name and tell her that she would be disappointed in you or she was rooting for you. And I was like, ow. So Eddie Kingston walk out. Jon Moxley still talking, finished his promo, and it was just like dead silence. Just like, wow, those guys. I mean, Jon Moxley's been bringing it since day one, since he won that title. But I think that it got personal for this one, and I love it. Each match they give Jon Moxley, he's been upping his game, and this one was the best because it got not angry, but just got emotional too, which. Yeah, AEW. I'm such a mark. I'm sorry. I am. The other thing, we're finally getting the tag team match that a lot of people have been wanting since they got into AEW, which is FTR and the Young Bucks. I just kind of wish there was more of a crowd in there. It would have just been more electric, and I know it would have been like a big, I think a divided crowd.
I went back and forth about that, like wanting
it's a lot of back and forth of who needs to hold the titles and if the Young Bucks, are really going to win. This match has a big stipulation on it.
Oh no!
So big it froze her.
If they get to challenge anymore, so it's not just not it's a lot riding on this because people are hoping at least one time the Young.
This is how she builds suspense.
It's storytelling.
Would promotion. Oh, there we go. I feel like doing this a year into the promotion, the Young Bucks versus the FTR, and then making it a never challenge again match. I just feel like it's too premature. Like 1 year is just too premature. I feel like this should have gone at least later on, but we'll see how it turns out.
The title, right? Like you can't for the world title like forever.
Exactly. Cody can't challenge again for the world title, which is probably why he's holding on to that TNT championship.
Or is that was Cody Rhodes banned from the title? Because now he has.
Oh, that's right. That's true.
Do not ask my opinion about that shit. That would be the stupidest thing that anyone ever did.
I kind of agree. And if you guys don't know, we're talking about this week. Cody officially got his name back, so he can now start using Cody Rhodes. WWE decided to let the copyright run out, which was probably a good look for them in the long run. I mean,
it's funny to me though.
They still have the other Rhodes name. They already have Dusty Rhodes, so let Cody's run out.
That people I saw comments though, like that should have been his all along, and I was like, do y'all realize his name is not really Rhodes though, right?
Yeah.
Actually, it was just funny to me how people just really forget about that these are real people,
right?
Like,
exactly. His name is not Rhodes.
But anyway,
at all. But I think it's a good look for WWE to let it run out right now. I mean, they still have Dusty Rhodes' name, so that's more of the moneymaker in the long run. To be honest.
Oh yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of good matches coming up in Full Gear. Also in the buy-in, guys. So if you're not going to buy it in the buy-in, they have in the buy-in they have the Serena D who is the NWA champion, going up against Allison Kay, who is officially now a free agent, who, by the way, tweeted a couple weeks ago when it was Layla Hirsch versus Serena D. She was like, oh, okay, cool. 2 non-NWA people vying for the championship. And I love it because Thunder Rosa retweeted, well, this didn't age well.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I saw that. I popped. I was like, that's awesome.
Still 2 non-NWA people vying for the championship, just to let you guys, think of it what you will. We also have the match coming up with Jericho and MJF, which is going to be interesting because, these 2 guys are big powerhouses coming up, and Jericho's already lost to Orange Cassidy. Can he afford another loss? I don't know, but we'll see. He has been doing really good at putting the younger talent over, which, and it doesn't seem to hurt him at all. So
he's bulletproof.
He really is. Yeah. I mean, he can tweet out some silly stuff and still be bulletproof. So
he still says he's the champ. He hasn't been the champ for how long? He's still a champion. He hasn't had a belt.
Yeah,
6-8 months.
Yeah, so that guy can pretty much do and say what he wants at this point. The fans are behind him. He's got the support. I mean, people are still singing along to the song and calling him Le Champion, like you said. So, I mean, yeah, I think it'll be a mixed bag of people who thinks he should win and people who thinks he should put over the younger talent, as like MJF. So we'll see. I honestly think I honestly am putting my money on him to win, and something's going to happen with MJF down the line.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
MJF, he's a young talent, but he's like over to the moon. Like he's already like he doesn't need any push.
No, he really doesn't.
For a young guy, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I think
24, 25 years old. Like
right. Considering he doesn't wrestle on a daily basis, or excuse me, on a weekly basis, and he's not on TV as much as we see some of the other guys, he is still one of the top talents in that, on that show.
You still got the ring.
So that should tell you something.
You got the ring.
He's got the ring. The other thing we finally saw is TNT Championship is going to be defended by Cody against Darby Allin. This is the third time they meet up, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Did we need this match? I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. It's kind of one of those things where it's a good match, but did it need to happen? I don't know. I feel like there could have been somebody else in that same position, but it's still going to be a good match regardless. Full Gear is a stacked card. I think this is one of the most stacked it's been in a long time. Although I like the two other pay-per-views, I just think this one's going to be better, rounded, starting from the buy-in to the very end with the Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley match. I have high hopes for it. I am getting it. I will be watching. So I'm excited for it. This is going to be I think it's going to be a great card.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'll be watching it since I'm not going to be able to make it. Yeah, I won't be able to make it SWE, so might as well watch. AEW.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Just the talent they have is awesome, and they're finally showcasing people who should be showcased. Shida and Nyla Rose they're finally getting their rematch. I'm glad that it's taken this long and it wasn't like an immediate thing because they were able to build up a little bit more. So, which is great.
And Nyla needed that, so I think it was good. A good job. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, now if you weren't ready to watch Full Gear before you jumped into the pit, when you're ready now, there ain't no excuses. Awesome.
Yeah,
job.
Go watch it and go check out the video that Pac dropped. He's coming back. I don't know when, don't know where, but he's coming back. He's gone like absolutely nuts in London. That little promo package they put together was amazing.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, safe travels to Mission Pro tomorrow.
All right.
Can't wait to see the pictures. Be safe.
All right, guys. Bye.
It's a big weekend for Texas wrestling. It's a big weekend for wrestling in general.
Yep, and a big week for In the Pit because we have a great guest already ready to jump in. Are you ready to do this?
Let's do it.
I know. Let's introduce Mr. Isaiah James, the unholy diver himself, my shark-in-law. What's happening, my man?
Another day in the life.
Yeah, we're not going to explain what that means. We're just going to make
no. Let them interpret what they want to interpret.
How's it going, man?
Oh, it's just another day in the life. Got cleared about, I think, yesterday it was. I got cleared because my knee's been kind of bum. Thought I might have had a torn meniscus, but turns out just like some rough bone from my patella kind of tearing up my articular cartilage. So that's kind of, been painful, but meds and a brace, and I'm cleared to wrestle. So you'll see me at VIP tomorrow against T-Ray.
So have you been rehabbing or working that knee out since or what's the last couple months been like for you dealing with that?
So I injured it 9 years ago in a match where I was teamed with Barrett Brown against Christopher Hayden and somebody I won't mention who is not in the business anymore. But I got pulled off the apron in a tag match, and when I got pulled off the apron, my knee went straight down to the concrete and hit it straight. Just nothing stopping it. I had a knee pad on and everything, but it immediate pain, and I continued the match. I had to do the hot comeback, so I'm limping around the ring just trying to finish the match. And now I never got it taken care of because I was young and dumb. So here I am 9 years later. It was like a week or so ago. I did a backflip, just trying to practice doing those again, and I felt my knee kind of buckle and sharp pain, and went to the doctor, and he checked me out. Waited for the MRI on Monday, got the results, and my results are better than expected.
So not good, but better than expected.
Not good, but better.
We'll take it. You get to work tomorrow. You're working T-Ray at VIP.
Yeah, I just have to wrap this thing up.
Get the ball rolling again. Get back where you belong.
Yeah, it'll be my first match in over a month.
And T-Ray's been talking shit.
I saw that. I saw that
promo like right before we did the pit out of APW. I was like, oh man, T-Ray.
Now I gotta film a response now because I filmed a nice little lighthearted video where it was just me, disturbing some trick-or-treaters and saying I'll see my next victim at VIP. But now I gotta make another one because T-Ray called me out.
Well, I mean, you're good for it. Y'all killed it last year or earlier this year in the promo challenge. Your promos were one of my favorite to watch. I mean, through all the different chapters, like your shit was creative. It was awesome. I loved it.
I appreciate it. I was having fun with it, and I got to give a little bit of a credit to the Insidious one because Sid was coming up with a lot of those ideas.
Yeah,
I was going to ask how involved she was in that.
What's that?
I was going to ask how involved she was in that because I'm sure y'all worked together with those things.
Yeah, so Sid actually comes up with a lot. It was coming up with a lot of the Isaiah character and was helping me along the way with that because I was kind of like falling out of love with it because I had been unholy and I had been that character for so long in my wrestling career that I was starting to just not enjoy it anymore. And if you notice, like I was having fun in those promos, but I don't feel like I was that character anymore. I slowly just, I was just having fun because it's just Facebook, and I don't care for Facebook, but I felt I had to do something since it was quarantine,
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of wanted to spitball off of that last question we had. We were talking about your transformations, the different evolutions that you've gone through with your character over the years. Tell us a little bit about this newest, evolution for you into the Izzy James, from that last gimmick you were working.
So I feel as though Izzy James is not a character.
Okay.
James is just me. I've been a character, a gimmick for 10 years. And now I want to give the fans a raw, just unapologetic version of what they've already seen. But like they've seen me do a character, but they've never seen the actual me in a wrestling ring. And now that I've been doing it, I've actually felt more comfortable than I've ever felt in the ring.
Nice.
And I've been comfortable for a long time doing a dark gimmick, doing a dark character. But for some reason, I guess you fall out of love with something when it's like insanity. You keep doing the same thing and trying to go to that next step, and it just never comes. And so it's like, I got to change something.
Yep. And they always say like the best gimmicks that usually get over the best are the ones that are more true to the person, just turned up a couple of notches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of felt like the unholy thing, the cult leader was becoming one. It was becoming like super hokey. Like it was too cartoon character. At least the way I was feeling about it. And then I started looking around and I was like trying to send my resumes out to different promotions and trying to get, booked across, the country over here and over there. And everywhere I would look, I would do some research. Usually every one of those promotions had an unholy type character or had a cult leader type character because it was becoming so popular. So I felt, especially that was another one of those things where it was just like no better time than right now with COVID going on, just, bare knuckles, no gimmick. Izzy fucking James is going to kick your teeth in and you're going to like it or you're not.
Wow.
So it's something positive to come out of the pandemic.
Yeah, I guess so.
We got to reach for positivity these days, man. Freaking 2020 11 is what we were calling it. And it's just like, this book has sucked so far.
It's been a tough year. It's been a very tough year in my family, not just with the COVID stuff, but other things.
Yeah.
It's a bad time for that.
So I did want to change direction just a little bit because I'm kind of a mark for your match with Dimitri last year at ACW. I know. But it's honestly, it was one of my favorite matches I ever saw live, like legitimately.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate that.
It was very intense. There was a lot of emotion. There was a great story there. I just kind of wanted to get your feedback on what that match was like for you.
It was intense because the month prior there was an incident where he had suplexed Insidious and broke her collarbone for the second time. After studying the tape, it's an accident. It happens, but it was one of those things where I felt like I had some emotions to get out, and that match was supposed to be a match. I felt it was more of a full fight, a real fight.
Yeah.
The first punch I took a blade to the neck, and I don't know if you can see it. There's a scar here. I think it's right there where I took a blade to the neck. It slit me open about an inch.
Wow.
And that's just, we all know what pro wrestling is. So, blades are put in different places, and it was put in a very unsafe place for this particular moment. And I took a blade to the neck, and from that point forward, I'm bleeding profusely from my neck. But I think it intensified that those emotions that I was already feeling, and where it was like a real fight, and it was, we were really going out there, putting it all on the line. It was enjoyable in that same sense of like, I know what I'm putting out is going to be good because it's the best of us. And
right.
Matt Hardy and Edge, over all the Lita stuff, they were able to come out and put on some of the best matches of their careers based on real, true life emotions. And Dimitri and I, we've been friends before that incident. We don't talk as much anymore, but we're still friends.
Right. Okay, good. I sent over a picture to Josh of the end of that match, man. Like, that's one of my favorite moments. Like, just standing there watching it. I mean, that moment was intense, and Wesley Crane getting up on the apron even for the end was. I mean, how real is that moment for you right there? Because I mean, that picture says a lot.
I feel that moment, like I had already put my physical emotions out there. I had already given my body. At that point, it was time to let it all out from within.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you to the brink of what I can do legally, technically, but also in that moment, you see me holding a lighter there, about to set him on fire because I did cover him in a little bit of gasoline. So I know I was probably a little bit too far into my emotions. And Wesley's a good friend. I actually have him working on some video work for me right now. So him coming up and intervening like that was, I think it added to the story.
Yeah.
On top of what Dimitri and I were going through, we, like, the fans pretty much know, like, we're all connected in some way, whether it's through Jason Silver and myself being tag champions for so long at ACW, and their friendships through Dimitri and Wesley, and we've all traveled the roads together, and we've wrestled each other in different places. And so I felt like that just made it more intense. And I don't know from the outside in as far as, but it felt intense. I felt like there was a strange hush, but also this uncomfortableness that I could feel radiating from the fans. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Let me chime in on that. The day after that match, Brad came into the chat and literally said, as that moment was happening, I had in my head, I'm about to see a dude get lit on fire.
It was. I say that.
Like, this guy's about to burn this dude. Like, that's how real it was.
That moment was unreal. Like, I'll remember that wrestling moment for a long time. Like, I know there was a lot of backstory and there was a lot of emotion leading up to that, but as a fan, that was one of the most captivating things I ever witnessed live. Like I said, I was a huge mark for that match. It was just something I remember. I didn't get outside when y'all were fighting in the street because people were trying to take my spot all night. It was a great spot. So I waited for y'all to come back in. But
oh, you missed the scooter spot.
I saw it. We had a friend that was outside, so he was videoing and gave us when he gave us back in. But it was a great match, and I really wanted to make sure to have a chance to pick your brain about it for a few minutes. So I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, I remember it explicitly. That next day in our chat, Brad was just like, "Holy crap!" and told us all about the match. Everybody was talking about the card, and that was just the moment that was just stood out.
Yeah.
And I'll say that's probably one of the, what was that, like December of last year?
Yeah, like late November.
Yeah. That was probably like the most intense match I've had in a long time, whether it be before or after. As far as I can remember, that was one of those the most, like, I got, not only do I have something to fight for,
Right.
but like, I got to prove that I'm the shit here, and you're stepping in, you're stepping on me right now. Like, get
You gotta hold your own and stand. I mean, that was your ring.
exactly.
So usually we kind of start the interview this way, but we're gonna kind of jump back. I kind of like to dig a little deeper into the beginning. All the guests, just kind of see, you know, kind of the stereotypical question that all talent gets asked. Probably, it's like, you know, why did you become a wrestler? Who did you see? Like, who did you look up to? Was it someone in your family that was a fan? Did you become a fan yourself? At what moment was it like, that's what I want to do? Like, when did that light switch get turned on?
So, wrestling has been in my life since I was born, and from what I remember, my family telling me, my mom was going to WCCW events with me in the womb. So it's been around in my life, and I became a professional wrestler because of my mom, and she was a lifelong fan herself. And I remember whenever I was an infant, I was tiny. I have a very vivid memory of my grandmother and my mom holding my hands while I'm walking over this hump going into the auditorium. And I can see the lights. I can still see it in my head. I can see the lights, the smoke in the lights, and I remember the ring, the people around it, and Jeff Jarrett's in the ring, and he's cutting a promo. I don't remember anything he says because obviously I'm old, but he's cutting this promo, and that's like the first memory I have in my life. The earliest memory I have in my life.
Wow.
That I can recall. And I have I have photos with me with Beware, Kerry Von Erich, Jeff Jarrett, and a few others from the auditorium that I was able to get with my mom. And sadly, she passed away a little over a month ago on September 26th. And so she was always my support system, my driving force. She would drive to Oklahoma to see me wrestle. She's driven all the way to Houston, Austin, San Antonio. If I was wrestling and she hadn't seen me wrestle in a while, she was going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of stories I like to, to peel back the curtain, you know what I mean, a little bit.
Yeah, and as far as like that one moment though, like that one thing that made me want to be a professional wrestler was the Iron Man match with Brett and Sean, and I think that's a lot of people's moments because I feel like for me that was the first time I got to see pro wrestlers be athletes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's different now because we're such super athletes. We're expected to do so much more now because so many guys can do so much more. But back when it was just the 90s and I didn't have the internet and I didn't have access to New Japan, I didn't have access to all these other shows other than maybe WCW, I didn't see an Iron Man match. I didn't know what an hour-long match would look like. And so getting to see them actually be athletes and be professional wrestlers, that was really cool to me. And that was what stood out to me was that moment of Brett and Sean putting on that first Iron Man match for me.
It's funny that you mentioned that because my dad used to take me to the store to rent tapes, and I remember renting WrestleMania and being like, "You don't understand, man! Like these guys got to go 60 minutes. Like this is not something we've ever seen before." I remember that as well. It wasn't
big.
Yeah, and it was.
And it went over.
Yeah.
And it went over 60 minutes too. And it was over like crazy. I mean, Shawn Michaels is my all-time favorite wrestler, so even more to me. He's Kerry Von Erich's the reason I started watching wrestling, but then Shawn Michaels is the reason I've probably been doing it for almost 40 years now. So yeah, that's a good moment as well.
Shawn was definitely one of those guys for me. Jericho was one of those guys. I'm a huge Macho Man fan.
Put that in there.
And then, you know, obviously you gotta love John Cena. I'm gonna say it.
I mean, people hate on that dude, but
I hate him when it was first, oh, John Cena's the thing. But in the last like 4 or 5 years, I was like, John Cena's the fucking shit.
he's a bad dude. I mean, he worked hard for where he got, that's for sure.
His contribution to the business is, to me, he gave so much to the wrestling business. How can you not be happy with John Cena's work? Like, on top 10, 15 years, and
yeah, his run is impressive.
Yeah. No, like Hogan was on top for a long time, but consistently in shape like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely different from 90s.
Not to mention, like, so I have this whole theory about how John Cena would have been way more popular if Hulk Hogan had actually been retired and out of the game during that run, just because like of how like he was hanging around. That was such a black mark on his career and Hulk Hogan's. And here's Cena trying to be the next big guy. It's a dumb theory, but I think that the thing about Cena was Hogan-esque, and he gives back to the business, whereas Hogan at the end was just taking. I think Chris Jericho is going to be the one to remove the Hulk Hogan big guy thing from wrestling, and Chris Jericho might be somebody that eventually becomes the guy referenced by everyone, just because of like how much he can do, how much he can give back, how much he does. But yeah, John is a guy I didn't watch him, but I had a lot of respect for him for the business from that reason.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think Jericho is already kind of on that path of being on that Mount Rushmore, quote unquote, of wrestlers that people talk about. Everybody knows Hogan, they know John Cena, they know The Rock. Jericho is definitely climbing that because of his tenure in the business, all of his accomplishments within that time.
And
it's shorter because he spent a lot of time not in the main event picture like these other guys like Hogan and Cena. Like you said, they were always main eventing. They may be mid-card occasionally, but Jericho would go down there. He would work the lower matches. He would put talent over. He would work non-televised events. So I agree. I think what Jericho's done is way bigger than what a lot of the other guys have ever done. I think Jericho eventually should be, if not seat 1 or seat 2 on the Rushmore of wrestling, but
he's on my Rushmore for sure.
Absolutely.
He's a pretty cool guy too. You got to spend some time with him on his cruise a few times. He's pretty cool.
I haven't got to meet him yet. I try to like tweet out to him or like interact with him on the socials, but I'm a social media pariah, so.
Yeah, exactly. We've been lucky enough to see him a few times, and it's pretty awesome.
So my favorite question to ask toward the end is kind of what's next for you?
What's next? So currently right now I'm the half of the Reality Wrestling Tag Champions. Planning on holding those as I want to. And whenever that is over and done with, I do have aspirations to go for the other main belts in Reality of Wrestling. So I believe Abel won the Reality of Wrestling Championship from Ryan Davidson. So Abel, I'm coming. Just hang on. But there's that, and then I'm in school right now, going to school for physical therapy, so I can know what's wrong with this right here in full extent. And while that's going, I won't be done until 2022 with my schooling. So in the meantime, it's getting this new, getting Izzy there, getting people to hear my name, because people know in Texas, people heard a lot about Gregory James, and they started Isaiah James because it was a change, and I can credit Booker to the name change of Isaiah. Izzy, I just gave Isaiah a nickname, so I'm still Isaiah, but it's shortened. So Izzy recognized. And as far, I've been in the wrestling business for 2 years, but I feel like I'm at a reset, And so now taking that footage and sending it out, sending it to those AEWs, to the Impact, to Zello Pro, to the East Coast, the West Coast, the overseas, and just trying to get as many eyes as I can on Izzy while my body still can go. Not saying I'm old, but
right. Well, an athlete doesn't have the lifespan that a regular 9-to-5 job has. I could be a call center guy for 40 years. But.
Yeah, and you can sit, but there are some issues with sitting for too long, so don't get that wrong.
Stand up every once in a while, take your breaks.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, so we always end our interviews the same way with every talent. We have a segment we call the Go Home segment, where we kind of hit you with rapid fire questions.
Oh no,
me and Brad. Yeah, I didn't warn you, man. I never warn anybody. I'm a jerk. I don't warn any of the talent until it happens. So
they're random fun questions. Like you won't look dumb or anything.
Yeah, we call it a go home segment. There's 20 questions, so it's like a 20 count. We say a 5 seconds to answer, but you can do an AEW 5 seconds, which could be 10 or 15 seconds because AEW
like a 20-second count outside.
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, we go back and forth. Brad starts, and are you ready to go home?
Let's do it.
Cool.
All right. The last time you lost your phone, where was it when you found it?
Oh God. Bathroom.
Okay.
Would you rather live without music or live without watching movies for the rest of your life?
Movies.
Can you whistle?
Kinda. I need more water.
Would you rather live 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future?
I'm gonna say past.
Same.
And that's a bold call.
Future.
I was just saying, drop out right before the Great Depression, man. Are you sure that's where you want to go?
I just thought about that. 2020 is 1920, and no.
All right, man. If you could have a wrestling match anywhere in the world, and I mean a spot like top of Mount Everest, in the field, wherever, where would it be?
Korakuen Hall, Japan.
Nice.
What is the weirdest food combination you've ever eaten?
Peanut butter and egg whites.
I've not heard of that one.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
All right.
It tastes good at first, and then you go,
Okay. Which do you prefer? See you later, alligator, or after a while, crocodile?
See you later, alligator, I guess.
All right.
Cat person or dog person?
Cat person, I got 4.
I knew that one. How many episodes of Jerry Springer have you seen in your lifetime?
At least a dozen. Probably a couple dozen.
Okay.
What is the one food you could eat for the rest of your life if that was the only thing you could eat?
Fish and chips.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
What was the first car you owned?
First car I owned?
Yeah.
Was a Chevy Colorado 2004.
Nice. After talking to you now, I think we kind of might have a guess on this answer, but how long can you go without checking your phone?
Without checking my phone?
Mm-hmm.
Go a whole day.
That's probably a gift.
I would love to go a whole day.
Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Harry Potter.
If you were a candy bar, what candy bar would you be?
What was it?
Milky Way.
All right. Is it worse to get super glue on your hands or gum on your shoes?
Gum on your shoes.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
What place in the world would you like to be stranded? If you had to be stranded.
Any island, anywhere away from civilization.
Nice. In your own personal heaven, What album is playing on repeat nonstop?
Oh gosh. Kiss Alive 3.
Okay.
Nice. Where do thoughts come from? We're getting deep.
It's somewhere in the brain. I just studied this.
Well, we're gonna get an actual scientific answer. That's cool.
Yeah. If
I
I was better at school, you'd have the full answer. I'm a straight A student, though, just letting y'all know.
Who punches harder, Betty White or Queen Elizabeth?
Betty White.
Hell yeah. Of
Oh,
course.
yeah. And then now we're up to our final question.
All right.
The last couple of people have actually gotten it right. The majority have gotten it wrong. Do pineapples go on pizza?
Hell no.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna say. You're the first person we ever had that I was like, I think he's gonna say no.
Yeah,
No, I like pineapples separated from my pizza.
I think even the score now. Like for the first 8 weeks, we went undefeated, and now the last few weeks, I think
you went undefeated. I was defeated. We don't agree. I agree that they did not go on pizza. That's how.
Now, I think there might be a situation where they could go on pizza. If it's a barbecue pizza, where it's barbecue sauce, cheese, onions, peppers.
Uh-oh. Now you're going to claim that as a win, or you're claiming it as a win.
Next time you go to Mod Pizza or something like that.
I'm going to give that one a try.
Yeah, that might be the way to go. A little Hawaiian action.
Man, thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Such a pleasure. It was on. I was excited all week about this interview. I appreciate you coming on and talking with us.
Hey, it was fun. I definitely had fun with it.
Awesome, man. Well, be safe. We're looking forward to see you in the future.
Where's my finger? Right there, Unholy Diver. It's on Twitter, Instagram, and I think Facebook. But just type in Isaiah James. You'll find it.
Find him. Follow him.
And Pro Wrestling Tees. Same thing.
Buy merch.
Buy my shit. College student, buy my shit.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it.
My parking-in-law. Be safe.
That was awesome.
That's so good. It just makes it so much like when we have guests like that, you ask a question and then you get a story. You know what I mean? Like it was beautiful.
Well, I think that, like I'm by no means a journalist. This is my first foray into talking to people that I don't have trapped in a room or that are my friends. But like there are interviews that we have done that have intrigued me as a fan. Like, and he was one of them that, like, when you told me that he was coming on, I immediately had 50 questions in my brain. Like, sometimes I get really nervous before shows. Like, I'll write up 100 questions because I worry that, like, the guest might, not be a big talker and we might have to carry it a little bit more. This one had, like, 5 questions because I was like, every question I ask, it'll just create more or whatever. And it was a good interview. I had a ton of fun with Izzy.
Yeah, that was great. Super
Couple things to shout out before we go, though. Josh, didn't we talk about some upcoming events in Texas?
We did. GCWA, I guess, is what we wanted to talk about. They announced their upcoming show on December 4th at the Valencia Indoors. So I'm bringing that up. They haven't officially announced ticket information, but I can tell you this: it's going to be indoors. So that means there's going to be limited tickets. So get on those and be ready to jump all over them. They got Ziggy Dice taking on Gino for the GCWA title. That's outlandish.
Gino, who we sponsored, by the way, in the pit, sponsored Gino through the Texas Wrestling
Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm, the Texas Grand Prix. Sorry,
it's been a Grand Prix after drinking. It's worth fitting. Yeah, our in the pit sponsored talent Gino Medina is going to be defending the title against Ziggy Dice, former NWA television champion. I mean, what else you got to say? Like that should be enough for you to be like, y'all need to come down to Corpus, be able to get those tickets and get indoors and see the show.
Yeah, I like Ziggy Dice. I think it'll be a good show. A couple others that we were plugging. Y'all heard Izzy mention that VIP is running tomorrow night. SWE is running this weekend in San Antonio. Mission Pro, we mentioned that earlier. So just a ton of wrestling this weekend, and next is even bigger too. So get your fill.
Yeah, man, it's good times. Good times. We're making the best of it. You know, this shitty 2020 COVID infested year.
Absolutely, this is the worst book I ever read. I can't wait to put it down.
I can't wait. Can't wait. Jesus Christ. All right, man. Well, that's another one in the books. Appreciate you.
Yeah, have a good night.
See ya.